Hello and welcome to another domination battle in Warhammer 3. We do have your two usual suspects of myself and my buddy Joe. I'll be commanding Wood Elves and he'll be commanding the Vampire Coast. We do have a Forest Dragon and a Glade Lord on Forest Dragon because I believe good things come to pairs. We do have a front line of Internal Guard. Not the best of melee units. They kind of hold, I'll say, but you know, they desperately need backup. Do have some Glade Guard, two with Starfire Shafts and another like normal variant. Brought Starfire Shafts because of the magical and flaming attacks usually do good against, you know, the undead with their ethereal units and the regenerating units. And hidden over here are some Deepwood Scouts. To kind of my thought process here is hide them in the forest. Something comes to the point one, take a few pop shots, and you know, kind of just stay back. For my opponent, he has brought Count Noctilus on his glorious looking mount. I love this thing. I do have the ROR of the Death Guard, the Bloody Reaver Death Guard. It's very, I believe they're a scary unit, especially with Frenzy. What is this? Charge Reflection, the Hunger. They have an Enrage ability, gives them a 40% damage reduction. So very, very scary unit. Some mortars, some deckhand mobs and gunnery mobs, some bats, and all the way over here, Morngulls. So him putting Morngulls over here really helps him because they have stalk. I have to get near them to see them, so it kind of messes up my whole little plan. But in this opening area, it's just some firing back and forth. My thought process is that I'm probably going to stick back. Only real things right now that can really hurt me are the mortars and these bats if they get close. Because the rest of his units do need a line of sight to be effective. At least his gunpowder units anyways. But I'm able to shoot over the hill while he has to crest the hill to be able to, you know, get me with most of his stuff. We do line up a nice little breath attack here. Take it down these gunnery mobs to about half health. You know, not killing a lot of units, but still taking them down to half health. I believe we're going to be lining up another one right here. Unfortunately, they are on the move, and I do come in at an awkward angle. If I would have waited until they were in melee combat, then it would have done a lot more damage than what it did. But, you know, it's still a good chunk of damage, and an expensive piece down to about half health now. As they are taking some magical flaming attacks. Opponent does call in the Queen Bess, and Queen Bess can be scary, especially whenever the shots lands. We'll see if this one lands here, and the answer is almost actually. One thing I don't like about the Queen Bess, and it's something I feel like, you know, I wish it didn't fire at the edges of a formation. I kind of wish it fired centered mass. Because we're not moving and it hits the edge here. I feel like it would do more damage if it hits center mass, which granted it doesn't have the best of accuracy. The shots are slow. You know, it is what it is. We do get another breath attack, kind of just, which granted these are just zombies, so we're not really accruing a lot of value, but you know, bodies off the field is bodies off the field. Every little bit helps for these Eternal Guard because again, they don't do damage. Do call in some Treekin over here onto objective one to kind of find these Morngulls. Deepwood Scouts do end up, you know, throwing in some fire as the trees are marching to war against the ghouls. So be a little fight over here. I want to say a Treekin will win this, primarily just due to stats and whatnot. Morngulls losing their anti-infantry bonuses, and Treekin having magical attacks. So magical attacks won't really help in this situation with the Morngulls. My opponent is kind of locking down point two. These Depth Guard ROR is hanging in a lot longer than what I kind of expected. I was kind of hoping the Eternal Guard would be able to clean that up a lot quicker, but fortunately they do not. Do have the Sisters of Thorn coming in, but right on top of them is a Pit of Shades. This Pit of Shades, it's gonna hurt. I do kind of notice it. I start pulling them out, and by me trying to pull them out, I feel like I just make it a lot worse. as they do go down to about half health. I could throw a regrowth or something on them. They didn't lose any models, so throwing down a regrowth would definitely help them out. As fell bats do compromise my Deepwood Scouts, but Sisters of Thorn are coming in and they'll be able to mop that up fairly quickly. Look further down, back over here at the Treekin and Mournguls fight. Treekin are, I mean, handedly winning that fight, but they were starting to have support of this gunnery mob. Gunnery mobs don't really have any armor piercing values, only 3, so it's gonna take them a while to take down the Treekin, but yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. We do start to hold down a point 3 finally, with the force dragon coming down and landing. Well, it looks like that Queen Bess shot kind of fired center mass, but I feel like it only fired center mass because we weren't parallel to it. But yeah, we'll kind of just watch some of these shots come in from Queen Bess. I don't want to like misspeak and say, oh, it only fires at the corners. I wanted to fire center mass. But we'll see. We'll watch one more shot as these deck gunners that were summoned in earlier do start to kind of peg these poor Eternal Guards with shields. They do have a shield breaker on their ammo, so the missile block chance is basically, I mean, that one's kind of closer to center mass. I guess that's the best we're going to get from it. It might be because of the poor accuracy and the way the shots are fired, but anyways, I don't want to just focus in on that. We do have the Glade Lord landing down to fight Count Noctilus in battle. He does summon, I believe these are a summon. Oh, how do I tell? Okay, yeah, so these are a summon, so it'll kind of help Noctilus in battle and kind of distract the Force Dragon. But we do summon in some Treekin to kind of back up the Glade Lord. Opponent does summon some more stinky bats as the ROR, Mournguls, and Night Terrors do start to get into melee combat with the Treekin. Treekin will now start to lose that fight, as I've said throughout almost every gameplay. Big entity hiding in between infantry. All the attacks are gonna go. I mean, you know, you're smarter than me. Fellbats do come in. I believe they have an attack order on the Sisters of the Sword. No, they come down, kind of beat up the Treekin even more. Now they're in a 1 versus 3. Treekin will unfortunately, I believe, fall in that combat. They'll hold out for a little bit, but they don't really dish out the punishment. Let's look back over here. Objective 2. We do finally have hold of Objective 2. Objective 1 is still in our opponent's control, and we do have Objective 3. But we do have a big monster fight. It's one thing I do like about Warhammer 3. It's just big monster fights, and this thing's animations are just, I love it. Firing the cannon in melee, just point blank, stomp on the dragon's head, and just pull out the guns. Opponent does summon in the Shade Wraith Gunners, ROR. They hurt. They hurt a lot. That magical attacks on their shots and a lot of armor piercing value. As you'll see the Glade Lord's health, whenever these shots land, it just chunks them. So I see that happening. We kind of nope out of there, throwing down a regrowth, I believe. Yeah, a regrowth. So definitely help out in some healing. The Spell Singer kind of just being able to sit back here unimpeded, not really having to worry about anything, throwing out a heal here and there, throwing out an Awaken the Woods, kind of having that Lure Life passive just activate and help everybody out. It's definitely a benefit for me. These Glade Guards are just about out of ammo. They only have one more shot left in them, just kind of peeling away the HP and the models of these deckhand mobs before they get into combat. And these Deepwood Scouts are out of ammo. They should be unsummoned by me, but I'll be missing a lot of things. So over here, the Treekin have somehow survived. I should definitely bring them over here into this to help out the Sisters of Thorn, because the Night Terrors are going to shred the Sisters of the Thorn. But we are bringing in some Dryads, so maybe that'll help. We'll see if that might turn the tides of battle. We're gonna keep an eye on that here and there. but the Shade Wraith Gunners are moving up because they don't really have that great of line of sight, so they do have to move up into me, and we do have the answer for them in these Deepwood Scouts with Swift Shiver. Is it Swift Shiver Shards? Either way, they have magical attacks with their arrows, and whenever the Shade Wraith Gunners do get within range, you'll see me swap over target to them. Because the Shade Wraith Gunners are ethereal. They don't have a lot of HP, as you can see, at 3800, but they do have a lot of physical resistance. But that will, you know, pretty much be negated as we see a couple of shots already kind of landing in as the first volley goes into them and does about, I would say, a fourth. I think a fourth is a generous number. So roughly in about 4 volleys, that, yeah, as you can see, just 2 volleys and they're below half health. They were having fun and then they weren't. Morgul's coming in. I don't think I've seen them yet. My opponent is fighting on objective 3. He does have more capture weight than I do, so objective 3 will be going in his favor. Eternal Guard kind of fighting to their last bitter end as best they can. His Glade Guard are out of ammo, so we're just using them for just capture weight, really. We do summon in some great Stag Knights in the back. And, oh, if you look over here, surprisingly, the Dryads were able to save the Sisters of the Thorn. I should definitely send them over to the Life Singer, or the Spell Singer, to kind of give them back some HP. They are low HP, but they do still have a decent model count, so we'll see what we do. I don't think I ever moved the Spell Singer from her spot. She's just been here the entire game throwing out heals. The Treekin are fighting some Death Guard, and with Dryads being under them, they will definitely do some work on these Death Guard. The Dryads might not last long, but the Treekin definitely will. Kind of brings out some more gunnery mob to shoot up the Forest Dragon. We are getting closer to our healing cap. We do throw out another heal on him. It'll be another regrowth, so we'll be healing our entire unit. All of our units are out here, and our value currently is 3200. Pretty good value, I would say, as an Awaken in the Woods comes out and slaps both the deckhand mobs and the Death Guard. But yeah, so far it's been a back and forth fight. As you see, capture points are relatively the same. I'm finally starting to pull ahead of my opponent here, and in damage values we are ahead, and I would say we're probably a little bit more ahead with the amount of healing we've been able to do. Count Noctilus has kind of been out of the fight for a while, so it's just the value for him. There was a little bit of healing going on, so you know, it is what it is. Our great Stag Knights do get into some gunnery mobs, and they're going to tear them to pieces. I really like this unit. You can tell the difference in size of the deckhand mobs and the reindeer that they ride. They are huge in comparison. They will get a rear charge into this gunnery mob right here, and it's going to be beautiful. Granted, it's uphill, but you know, it is what it is. You can't get everything you wish for. But yeah, this is a pretty good looking unit, but again, just the size comparison. These poor zombies. Opponent does bring in a deck gunner, and what I should do is I should swing these great Stag Knights around into the deck gunners, because right now the main threat in his army that's out on the field are the deck gunners. Gunnery mobs, like, they can do work over time. The deckhand mobs, granted, they do, I don't even think they have anti-infantry. Like, they're dual swords, but yeah, they don't have any anti-infantry value. So granted, I believe they'll beat Eternal Guard, but by the time they get up to us, they'll be shot to death with the kind of like the cascading arrow fire. You can see he chases after these Deepwood Scouts, but as they're chasing these Deepwood Scouts, they're being shot by units over here. So it's tough sledding for these poor zombies. I don't move these Glade Guard. I kind of just leave them there as a, you know, as bait, essentially, as these deckhand mobs do finally get to their target. But after all the arrow fire, it's been they're in shambles, for lack of better words. Queen Best does come back out, fires into the Treekin. Granted, the Treekin are weak to fire, and the Queen Best doing flaming attacks does it hurts. It hurts. But as I said, I should have brought these Stag Knights over and into the Deck Gunners. I would have gotten a lot more value. Which, how much value do they have right now? About 1200. So they're kind of getting there and paying for themselves. We'll be moving units on to point 3. We'll be taking that back shortly. Objective 2 is in the favor of my opponent, as the poor tree can just are taking bombardment after bombardment. Objective 3 is firmly in our control. No real contest there against them. And kind of looking at the battlefield, it's it's a little scarce for my opponent, at least. It was I think the main thing is this hill right here. With it being a gunpowder faction, as long as I'm behind the hill, there's not a lot to worry about, in all honesty. Like the deck gunners, they don't have a true target. They can't shoot at anything right now. They would be obstructive. They would be obstructed if he clicked on anything, and they would be marching all the way up here. Finally see something. By the time they get up there, it's basically over. Queen Bess finally hitting center mass, making me a liar from earlier. Thank you, Queen Bess. We do have an unsummon onto the mortars. We do resummon the forest dragon. And kind of, we're kind of tired of the Queen Bess, so we kind of landed down and start smacking the Queen Bess in hopes to at least shut it down. We do run our units up from objective 1 into these mobs, just so he doesn't have a chance to get over to there. We will start to take objective 2, even though objective 2 is not really needed now with the capture points that we have compared to his. He would probably have to triple cap me. I mean, not a probably, but he would have to triple cap me. And I see that I have a lot of supplies. It's kind of saved up. I feel like there's no point in me having like over 4,000 supplies saved up. I should just, recycle all these hurt units and bring out like fresh variants of them. I need to get used to recycling units in and out, especially ones that are, tattered like this, out of ammo. I should definitely start doing that. But that'll be pretty much it. It was a fun little fight. Good back and forth here and there. The Queen Bess, I believe, paid for itself. But with it being summoned twice, maybe it didn't pay for itself. I don't know. I feel like I probably should have went back there and took care of the Queen Bess. Granted, like just the damage done, like 13,000 in damage. That's a lot of damage that could have been prevented on my end, especially with Elves being a fairly mobile faction. 3,300 value on the Glade Lord, definitely paying for himself. Only like 1240 on the Forest Dragon, but again, a lot of its kills are onto zombies, and zombies are not the most valuable unit per se. What else? Oh wait, no, here's Queen Bess. Wait. Oh, I'm dumb. Those are mortars. This is the Queen Bess. 1527. But the same thing applies. Maybe I should have went back there to the mortars to shut that down. Maybe I should have went back there to the Queen Bess to shut that down. If I have the mortars and the Queen Bess shut down, I feel like we kind of start to run away with that. But anyways, video's getting a little long. Thank you for whoever watches this, and also don't be afraid to comment in the leave a comment in the comment section, giving a tip, maybe saying hey, you're a dummy for bringing this, anything like that. I don't mind those. I want constructive criticism, you know, because I want to get better at the game per se. But until next time, goodbye.